Thank you, Miguel.
You're welcome. Thank you very
That was
much.
awesome.
Thanks, man.
Way to start off the podcast with Miguel Machuca.
With a little song, right?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I push this back a
you
little
can
bit?
push it back. You could bend that little thing up
From
there.
up here? All right.
Or you just move it.
Oh, just move it?
Yeah, just
Okay,
move it.
cool.
And then bend it. There you go.
Okay, perfect. There you go. Let me move back a little bit. There you go.
Cool.
Yeah. Sweet. Are we good? Right there. There we go. Sweet.
Can you hear yourself?
Yeah, I can hear myself.
All right, cool.
There you go. Yeah. In the house with
All
Mike
right.
Borgia.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, we already went through a lot of conversation right before this. And
Interchange of words and thoughts.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I appreciate you sharing everything you did. And it seems like you've been doing a lot of inner work
Oh, yeah.
and research.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to, man. You got to. Because, I mean, it's your body, it's your mind, it's your emotions, your feelings. Like, you have to, like, learn how to navigate your conscious, yourself,
Yeah. And
I think it's really important. Yeah.
And I really like how you said, how can you navigate your ship or your vessel? What did you say again?
It's like you have to learn how to navigate your ship before you like navigate the waters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you might know the ocean, but you have to know your ship before you can like you sell out. You know what I mean? You have to know that. It's your body, like your mind, your thought process. Like you have to do that work so then you can, I don't know, adapt better to future situations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's important. I mean, we're all human, so we're all gonna keep making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely it's okay, because that's the only way you can fully go into yourself a lot more and then learn how to navigate your ship. You know what I mean? Your vessel.
Yeah. Like the ship and the controls within it, like how you're gonna drive it, and making the mistakes, I feel like, is very important within our journey. But while we make the mistakes, we have to kind of retrace and see and understand why we are doing the things we are doing.
Right. Yeah, that's true. If you keep making mistakes and you don't learn, then yeah, that's a problem, because it's not fixing anything. You're just repeating and adding more energy into what you're already not fully understanding. You know what I mean? I think it's really important. I think a lot of people know that it's important, but what better time than to, because we're living in like historic times right now. I mean, we're making history, dude. Like, we used to read about the bubonic plague. We used to read about all that stuff, but now we're living like a certain pandemic. It might or it might not be as crazy or as not as crazy as what people say, but we're definitely living in a time where you have been giving like a choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Matrix. You take the red pill or the blue pill. Do you want to forget about it, go back to the Matrix and just kind of be like blissfully ignorant? Or do you want to like take the risk to understand what's happening? And it's going to be some loss, but you'll have the truth. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What type of person are you? Are you willing to just to do that or go the other way? I feel that I'll take the pill to like know the truth over having a stake. You know what I'm saying? Like blissfully having a stake like in the Matrix. I think it's important, dude. And I think like this is the perfect time to be able to find yourself, truly find yourself, and I don't know, be who you always wanted to be, who you were meant to be. I think,
Yeah, and like taking the blue pill and the red pill, you're given tools. So, or is that a tool, do you think, like when you're given, or do you have to collect those tools as you take the, wait, which is the pill? The red one is the one that where it just opens your mind?
I think the red one was to open your mind, and I think the blue one was to kind of like go back to the Matrix. But in a way, it's like, who cares about the color, right? I mean, you have the choice. Like, just take one pill or the other. Like, I feel like you gain the tools when you accept the choice that you accept. Like, if you accept to just go back into the matrix and like be blissfully ignorant, then that's fine. You get some sort of tools with it itself. But I don't think it helps you break through that pattern of like going nowhere, spiritually or like mentally, you know what I mean? You're just kind of like, you just want to hold things. You just kind of want to be happy holding things. I want to be happy holding things that are not really there, but that I can make them like they're there, and at the same time learn about myself so that maybe I can use these things differently, you know what I mean? Something like that.
So what type of tools do you think you've gained that has been most impactful in your life?
Listening, dude. Listening. Because before, I felt like I've always been the same person, but always been wanting to make people happy, like laugh, and I wanted to be the center of attention. Not like, look at me, but like
people pleasing.
Let me be funny for everyone to laugh. That would, sorry about that. That would inspire me to like be comfortable, like seeing someone smile or laugh. But now at 42 years of age, like, and the stuff that I've gone through, I've been giving tools that could be perceived as like bad tools, but I feel like it's up to you to like turn those tools into a positive tool, so then you can learn how to be better in your point of life. So now I'm not trying to be that center of attention. I'm not trying to make everyone laugh. I think I've passed that. I think what makes me happy is listening to my friends and other people's experiences, and like, so then I could really listen and like pay tribute to like their existence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because when you say listening, we have to navigate just saying the word listening. What does it mean to not listen, right? And also, when you said that, it reminded me of a tool that I was able to pick up recently regarding like reaction, just reacting to someone saying something, and then I react by just saying no, just be happy, or just like muting a person right away. Like, someone's having a problem, it's like, oh, it's okay, just work out, whatever, do something that will, but you have to really listen to a person and what they're actually saying and where it's rooted from, and just understand and feel them. So for me, listening would be feeling them, honestly feeling, and not having a reaction or a solution. Like, I can't just give solutions.
Yeah, no, totally. There's this like, okay, so like, for example, like blind people, right? They don't have that sense of like seeing, right? But at the same time, they could see more than you can, because they have to adapt to a certain type of a way of living where they don't use their eyes to recognize things. They use their hearing, and also their energy. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can feel you're close to something just by feeling its energy getting closer. So then you realize, okay, there's an object there. So I feel like they have it right. You know what I mean? Like, that's how we should be listening. Like you said, feeling them is actually the listening that we need. Yeah. Because these right here and these right here could definitely like distort or lie to you in a way. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if you listen to somebody by feeling them and feeling their truth or their perspective or their thought process, and looking at them and like really trying to listen to that, then I feel like it's a really good way of trying to I don't know, evolve as a person, as a human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's what the world needs now. It's like more listening and less talking.
Yeah, and then and after listening, one has to do their own research.
Exactly.
Well.
It's vital. I mean, yeah, you have to. Okay, so what do salesmen say, right? They say, well, in order to sell your product, what do you have to do first? Is get to know your product, right? You get to know your product, so then when you sell your product, you know everything about what you're selling. I don't want to kind of refer to it as like a salesman, but it's that technique. It's like back to the ship, right? You're the captain of your own vessel, right? And the world is the open waters.
Mm-hmm.
You have an idea of what the open waters bring, what it contains, what you might have to face. So you have to know your vessel, every control, every button, every little thing about yourself, so then you can maneuver the waters correctly. You're gonna face challenges, but if you know yourself well enough, then you can overcome those things. You know what I mean, with minor damage to your vessel.
Yeah, yeah. And talking about ships, that made me think about there's like a theory. I think Sherry Lakey from Anno Domini mentioned it, where just to let people know, a gallery in downtown San Jose. So when you have a ship and it's out on the water, say if you have to rebuild the ship, right? Like you got to take out the plank, replace it with a better piece of wood. And say if you replace the whole ship, every single part of it, is it still the same ship? Does that make sense at all?
It makes sense. I think it's still the same ship, just a better version of your ship. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is. It's almost like your body, right? Like your vessel. Like, for example, I'm going to use my experience as an example. I'm still me, right? I'm still the same ship, but the turbulations and the challenges I faced was the repair to my ship. So now I'm the same ship, but equipped with better technology, so then I can go ahead and continue my path.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's still the same ship, just slightly changed, but I feel like the root of it is still the same.
Okay. And it made me think, even like want to go deeper into it, right? Where, okay, the molecules in your body, say since you were like born, and fast forward now, like our cells are like shedding, the skins are shedding, the cells are changing, things are going one way and disappearing, or like recreating, like when we heal. And that's the physical part of the changing vessel. And then we can go to the spiritual, or maybe the mental, where the ship that exists, the vessel, the vision, the vision in your mind, you can reconstruct it, rewire it, replace the construct that is already there. And for example, like in this current era that we're in right now, it's allowed me to see a part of myself that I haven't seen before, which is diving into my roots, like which has been inspired by my partner, Christine, and how she's been diving into the roots of what it means to be Filipino. Like, earlier she said, even the Philippines, the title the Philippines or Filipino is not our ancestral title.
Right. Yeah.
And man, there's like this whole ship, that's wind sail, that's been attached to my mind and vessel, and also realizing the things that existed as me as a person that I got to release it into the ocean and keep moving forward with a better sail, better, like you said, technology, and keep sailing.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that that we're now in that era where you're right. We're becoming aware of like even the title Filipino, like it's not even the real title of like your people. You know what I mean? But what we have dealt with in history 100 years ago till now has been a vital point and evidence that in life you need those bad things so then it could inspire you or spark that interest of getting to know the authentic self, the real you as a person, as a human, as a race, I guess you could say, your roots. I can agree with you. Like, I feel that and then it kind of like this Black Lives Matter movement inspired me to like be more aware of what my people are going through. You know what I mean? We're all people at the end of the day, and we all come from the same place, but we all do and have so much in our minds that we were taught as time passed that kind of like push us away from who we truly are as people. You know what I mean? So I think that, whether there's bad or good information out there about the movement that's happening, it has helped me to focus on my people as well. I'm not doing as much as I wish I could, because I'm not as knowledgeful, but I'm trying to learn and educate myself a little better before I say anything, before I try to use my voice, because there's a lot of bad information out there disguised as good information. Mm-hmm. And I want to be absolutely sure, just like my artwork. Like, I don't want to put out anything that's halfway done, because halfway done doesn't give justice to what it really is when it's complete.
Yeah, your
work is never really complete, but there's a certain level of satisfaction where you're like, okay, I can let it go, and it's safe enough for people to digest that or sit with it for a little while. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And your artwork, I wanted to since you mentioned it, I want to dive into your artwork.
Yeah, dude. Let's.
Is there anything in general that you would want to share with people? I'm gonna look up you on your Instagram.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the latest work that I did for the Triton Museum, in Santa Clara, I feel like that was a big pinnacle point for myself to be able to share like some true emotions and ideas and thoughts of what I was dealing with at that time and before that time. And when I say that time is when I got diagnosed with lymphoma cancer. I feel like even that, I feel that was like a necessary thing for my individual self to experience, so then I can understand myself a little better. You know what I mean? So
most definitely.
So the charcoal pieces that I did for that show are the ones that I feel like are the true it's the true map of like my soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
like, I remember earlier on our conversation, you were talking about how are things predetermined?
Right.
Is it fate?
Yeah.
And recently I was listening to I just wanted to I never really took a lot of science classes. So, and I was always interested in Einstein's theory of relativity. And they were just talking about quantum physics, and how in quantum physics there's an equation that equals something, and then everything actually has an equation if you were to write it out.
Yeah.
And so since everything has an equation, some quantum theorists think that everything is already equal to something and already mapped out. Like,
that's a crazy concept to like understand, because you're talking about like, okay, life is spontaneous, but then yet it's pre-designed, right?
Yeah, and can both exist.
I mean, Yeah, of course. Of course. We're doing it right now. I mean, just so we can like let the public know a little more of what we were talking about. Like, so I was telling the story that when he picked me up, when Mike picked me up, we got into this conversation in the car about like predestined, like, you know, your destiny, or is it written or not? So the reason why I inspired that is because I was riding my bike downtown, and I was in a hurry to get home because I just wanted to rest. I was like riding, you know, my bike, and I realized that this the light is gonna turn red. So I decide spontaneously to just pass it. As I'm passing the street and I'm crossing like the red light, in an instant moment, I look down and I see a bee crawling, crossing my path. It's split second. I decide to move my bike real quick, maneuver, because I didn't want to squish it. And then I took off. But I didn't see if I did or not. But in my heart, I feel like I didn't. My thought was like, how convenient, what a coincidence that as I crossed the red light, the bee was crossing me, and I avoid to kill it. But was I supposed to avoid it, or was I supposed to just run through it so I could end its life? Because I recognized in that split moment that the bee was going to be in its last moments of life because it was crawling. And I've seen like a few bees in like different like what's that bug I told you? Bumblebees. When they're in their last steps, like they're crawling to just stay in one place. They're looking for a place to just sit, right? And so I'm thinking like, did I do a good thing by avoiding it, or did I do a bad thing? And I'm like, but it's crazy that as soon as I saw the bee in that split second, I was crossing while I was crossing the red light. So was that pre-written already, predestined? Did I alter like the reality at that moment? And if you look at it in a bigger point of view, like if you look at it as like a planet, and you're like thousands of miles, you know, light years away, like you're looking at the planet like if it's the bee, right? So it's everything like supposed to be happening the way it's supposed to be happening, at the same time that we as people, as human beings, are thinking, well, it's just life, it's just spontaneous. I mean, I think it's pre-written. I think it has an order, you know what I mean? And I think we go back to the chaos theory, right? Like there's an order within that chaos, which is like mind-blowing to me, you know, because even like if you have an anthill full of ants going everywhere, there's an order within that chaos of movement.
Yeah.
I mean, even going back to our talks at Starbucks, right? Like this was really opened my mind a long time ago, that because I used to hear, what is life? What is life? What is life?
What is life?
Life is movement. Life never stops. Life just continues. Life just goes on. Life has a force, a source, right? And I remember I read and I saw this this video where the planets, like in my mind as a kid, and not knowing too much about science, I always thought that the planets and Earth were at a still point all the time. But then I realized and I learned that it wasn't, that the planets are traveling. And as they move, right, and all the planets are like around the sun, you know, it's happening, they're creating like this spiral of energy. So if it's moving, it's like it's doing this. And it's creating movement within movement. Like
DNA.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, for something to be pre-written, pre-designed, whatever source designed it, man, I totally want to get to the point when I can become part of it. I mean, I am part of it already, but I don't know, kind of meeting that source at its raw stage, like it, or I don't know if I'm explaining myself right, but I would love to, like, I don't know, get a preview of what really, who or what designed all this.
Yeah, like in the Matrix, the architect.
Yeah, like the Matrix. Yeah.
they meet the architect. And yeah, no, it's crazy. Like, because everything that's happening in our current day is relative. It's not just linear, right? It's multidimensional. And I did a meditation the other day. So I want to share with you that I recently joined a men's circle.
Okay.
A men's circle, and this is probably our 7th week of doing it, and I had no idea. Like, I was invited to it, and I just had no clue what a men's circle is and what it entails. And I just, and it's all Filipino men.
Okay.
And it opened up my eyes a lot to how, like earlier we're talking about how it's very masculine, the environment a society that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
And because part of it, I feel like it's very hard for men to talk their feelings. For example, myself as like a younger Mike, it is just, you don't really talk about your feelings. You just fuck around and, joke, always joking around with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't really tell each other how you're feeling. Like, when I notice, like, whenever we say like, hey, how you doing? Well, good. I'm okay.
Yeah.
That's it. That's where it stops. And then the day goes on, but we don't really tap into, like, this is a tool that has been given to me, and I realize that this tool where it's just, we usually start the men's circle with a meditation, grounds us, and from there we say like how you feel. Like, I'm feeling excited, I'm feeling blessed and fortunate to have a discussion with you, and I am also like, I feel my neck stiff, so I feel the ground that I'm standing on. And I want to mention, this is Ohlone ground. That's what I was feeling right now. Like, oh, this is Ohlone land that we are standing on. And I feel the lights around me touching my eyes. And I'm feeling excited. And it just gives me like a check-in where you could just check in with yourself. And going to this men's circle, I'm able to check in every week and realize what a week looks like.
Yeah.
Because before it would be like day by day by day, but to see it all in a week, it's like I could see the roller coaster of emotions I go through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's very similar, the pattern of like excited to, oh shit, I just got into some heated discussion, or it's very similar. And then now for this week, I feel like it's transitioning to more of a peaceful, calm waters for some reason. But for the past 6-7 weeks, it's been the same intensity, the same pattern. And as an artist, we create patterns, even from painting to quilting to anything we create is a reflection of ourselves.
Yeah. I bet you there's some mathematical equation for that too.
Yeah. Some quantum mathematical equation. Yeah. And I think what I was coming at is that as things are happening right now, I guess one thing that is relative is the observer and the environment in relation to myself and seeing you, and you yourself and seeing me, while there's another quantum, like outside this room that is where we're sitting at, we don't know what's going on out there at all. It's unknowable, but not it's the unknown. So there's like an unknown and unknowable, like you absolutely cannot know the known, and I forget what the other ones were, but I'm still putting the pieces of the puzzles together.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just going down this rabbit hole that goes deeper and deeper,
Right.
and get more confused.
and that's perfectly fine. You're supposed to get confused because that sparks the thought of like, okay, let me dig deeper. One of the things that one of my mentor, and she will always be my mentor, Joanne, she's always taught me that. She's always said it like, you know, she goes, well, Miguel, it's time for you to go down that rabbit hole. You know what I mean? It's time for you to go, you know, dig deep within that, your subconscious, and like take whatever you need to take from that, so that when you come back up, like you can, you know, share it or have a better understanding of yourself. And so it's been a major key in my life to kind of like say that, you know, be able to say it like, well, you know, and I share it with other people, like, you got to go down that rabbit hole, you know what I mean? So then you can go ahead and like be confronted with everything that you need to be confronted. You know, some people get scared and don't want to go down deeper, and that's fine. Time will come to where you'll either be prompted, inspired, or forced to look deep inside, you know. So then you can go ahead and like come back up and move on, or evolve, or evolve, you know what I mean?
And that's kind of like going into your ship and remapping and reconstructing your mind in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
And I wanted to share or loop back in to the meditation. There was a meditation that we did where I forget where it's sourced. It may be Buddhism. I forget, but there you meditate. Start off with breathing, and then from the breathing, visualization. So we were starting it off from the day, like when you wake up, and from waking up, you step back and then you observe yourself. So as you just wake up, and me being an observer, looking at myself on the bed, my first thoughts, I'm looking at myself, like, so my observer self looking at my physical self waking up in the morning. And as I wake up in the morning, I'm like being able to step back and look at myself and what is actually happening, what I'm feeling. I kind of feel like it's stepping back from a painting, you know?
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
you're
definitely.
When you're so in your painting and you don't step back, you may be doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, because it just doesn't look the way it looks as you step further back.
Right.
And so you look at yourself like a painting. And I noticed like there's a pattern going on here. Like, wake up already thinking about coffee. Like, I need to get my coffee fix.
Yeah.
And then I realize I see myself walking to my wardrobe, and in my head already, I'm just like, I just want to pick the least effortless wardrobe that I want to pick, and go to the bathroom, brush my teeth. What am I feeling? Already thinking about work and what I need to complete, and then hopping in the car, and then just same pattern. But being able to step back and see yourself, it kind of shows a little more of what you're feeling, what your pattern's like, and maybe I could change something a little bit just to change the energy, maybe.
Right.
But
no, totally. And yeah, you're right. I mean, to get a better understanding, like, you have to step back and see the picture in a different perspective. We all fall into patterns very easily, and then we don't even know that it's a pattern until you step back and you look at it and you're like, wait, that is a pattern. Like, wait, what's going on? Let me do something different. Like, I've been hearing like a lot of like different people like tell me that, like, well, I hear them say that, you know, they wake up and the first thing they do is check social media. When before social media was even a thing, did you wake up and look at the news? Okay, you looked at the news. Are you feeding yourself like good energy before your day starts, or are you feeding yourself like that type of energy that you really shouldn't or don't need? You know what I mean? The coffee fix, like, that's a pattern you have, but does it do a good thing for you, or are you just doing it because it's a thing that you do every day. I feel like we can still do the same things that we do every day, but if we look at them differently, they digest differently.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do enjoy the ritual of coffee, the smell, the taste, and also I'm scared of getting a headache because I'm addicted to coffee. That's part of it.
Yeah, I feel like I did the same with the coffee. Like, I don't drink coffee to like, energize myself because I feel like I'm energized already, but it's the ritual that you take. You know, you make your coffee, you make sure it's like the water's hot, then you mix it and all that. I feel like it's great. The smell brings joy to my life. You know what I mean? I don't need it to function, but you're right. We have patterns every day, and it's up to us to kind of like throw in a different action before you even like begin your day. Like for me, a lot of times, like I love to sleep. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love to sleep, dude. Like, I feel like my mind is racing so much thoughts, thinking, that when I sleep, my body rests, but then my mind becomes free from that thought. Like, it's really my body taking me where it wants me to go, not my conscious self dictating what I'm gonna be thinking about. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, instead of like me sit in my living room and like, okay, the news, negative things, death and murders and blah, 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 blah. When you sleep, you just let all that go, and then your body just says, no, you're gonna dream about this.
Yeah,
you have no choice. You're gonna dream about it, and you're gonna face that consequence, or you're gonna experience that. And I feel like I enjoy that because it helps you, like, I don't know, see things differently, like question reality, really. Like, am I dreaming right now? Is this a vivid dream? And then when I go to sleep, I really wake up? Like, it's crazy. But I think an important thing is that, when to wake up, you gotta try to feed your mind and your emotion, your spirit, like, with something that's as small as making your own coffee, like a small ritual, so you can like kind of set yourself into, like, you know how you we're talking about ships, right? Before you sail off, you have to make sure things are prepared. Mm-hmm. You go through this ritual before you're able to untie your boat and then sail off into the world. You have to do those things for your vessel, for your mind, so then you can sail off into the ocean, which is like reality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, right?
Yeah. Have you ever had a lucid dream?
A lucid dream, that's like when the dream is so real, right? Or when like you're awake and you have a dream. Like, is that what it is? Or
yeah, I would define it as dreams awake, or you are actually conscious one step above, or okay, say for example us right now, right? The way our minds are engaged right now, like, we're thinking like, this isn't a dream, this is reality, right? So that feeling of just being comfortable in reality, right? But what happens if right now that we are actually dreaming? Like, you consciously know that you are dreaming at this moment because there's some glitch going on. Like, for example, a glitch that I like to look at in dreaming is, I look at words, right? So right here it says Arte Machuca 33.
Right.
So we look at it once, you look away from it, and then you look at it again. Does it still say the same thing? Arte Machuca 33. We're in reality, because in dreams
it changes, right?
It warps. That's one of the tests of lucid dreaming. Okay. Is that everything starts warping. If we were to look at the text again, it would be saying maybe Arte 33 Machuca. It'll like, right. Okay. And it starts swirling, like a water. And words are kind of like a puddle in water. Like, you look at a word and then it just keeps moving and shifting. Everything is shifting. But imagine if you're in the dream. You're actually in a dream, and then you notice that it changed, and you're like, oh shit, I'm actually dreaming right now. But you become lucid, So now, so it has a connection of consciousness. Like you're actually in the dream and you're conscious that it is a dream. And you're so excited because everything looks fucking real. Like, just like how it looks in reality.
Yeah.
And the amount of lucidity that you can have depends on what's going on. For example, someone jumps out and just like, hey, Mike, you're out of your lucidity. Now you're back into a conversation, the normal pattern of how your mind is acting with how a person, you know, just says hello. And then your ego, like part of it's ego, part of it's how aware you are in this reality. And you're just like, oh, hey, John, how's it going? But then your mind's just already doing that automatic thing. Whereas if someone jumped out and you were super lucid, you'd be like, I know this is still a dream. I'm not going to react to him or engage in the conversation. Like I want to be lucid still.
Yeah, I do. I definitely have then. And it always goes back to, have you ever, well, do you remember like in the Matrix, right? When Neo is like, I know Kung Fu, you know what I mean? They placed him in a program where he learned everything, right? It's a blank room. Oh, you want weapons? Boom, like a line of like nothing but like ARs and whatever, you know? I always go back to this one room, and that's I wake up and I'm watching my dad play the guitar, and he looks at me, and I'm looking at him, and at that moment I don't know I'm dreaming. I'm just like thinking that I'm there with my dad, right? But then like things began to change. Like I remember one time I dreamed that I was back in the apartment we were last living at when my dad passed away. And there's this one memory that I have where I wake up and all the windows of the house are open, and the curtains are kind of blowing because of the wind, you know. In the kitchen, I wake up and I'm walking out of the room, and I'm kind of like, you know, waking up, and I'm like looking around, and I see the windows. But when I look at the windows, it's like I don't just look at them and then walk away. Like I look at them and I'm like, they're moving differently. They're not moving like they should. Instead of like blowing that way, they're blowing up. You know what I mean? So I'm like, And then I look this way, and then the kitchen's right here, and the water's just running, and there's dishes, right? And the one's running. So it looks like everything's living, right? It's going as it should, but it's slightly changed. You know what I mean? No one's in the house, but I hear people, and I'm like, and I realize at that moment that I'm dreaming. You know what I mean? I'm back in that memory. You know. And then I go outside and I see people looking at me, and then I go further outside, and then some people try to stop me. But the faces, I see bodies coming at me like, oh, Mickey, or, you know, Miguel, blah, blah. But I don't see their faces, right? And it's hard for me to recognize who they are. And I realized at that moment that I'm visiting my kid memory. And the reason I don't recognize them is because I never truly saw the people's faces when they were trying to stop me. I just saw their bodies. But they in this particular dream, each person has the same face. I don't know what face it is, but it's the same face.
Just similar.
Just similar. Yeah. Every person that I interact before I go down and see, like, you know, what's going on with my dad, like, it's the same person. Huh. I don't recognize that person. And then all of a sudden, like, I realize that I'm in a dream, and I'm revisiting something. I try to be more observant, because maybe I'm being presented this same memory so I could learn something each time I visit that place. You know what I mean? But it feels real. It feels super real. And then it shifts back to my dad being in the couch, singing, playing his guitar, but his guitar is transparent instead of like solid. There's no strings on his guitar, but he's playing it, and my mom is washing the dishes. So I feel like at that moment I'm there, but I'm not there because I'm witnessing my mom and my dad interact before I woke up in that reality and faced what happened to my dad. I felt like I get a glimpse of the moments that before the tragedy. And so that's when I know it's like, okay, I'm in a dream. I'm not in a hurry to wake up because I want to experience, I want to feel that, it's been so long since I feel like my dad's presence, my dad's energy, like, or hear his voice, like, that when I do dream, like, the first, I don't know if it's minutes or seconds, like, I just feel like I want to, I know it's not a dream, and then I realize it is a dream, but then I want to enjoy it. I just kind of want to, like, enjoy it. It's like my time to visit my dad and be physically there with him, but it's not really physical, you know what I mean? It's all in my mind. So I think that counts as a lucid dream.
Oh, for sure. Like,
yeah.
You explained it in such detail.
Yeah.
And it sounds, I guess being a painter, like, you painted that dream in your mind, and listening to it, I felt like I was there. Like, I'm just like, you painted it really well with your words.
Cool.
It sounds like a really cool dream.
It is.
And I could even feel the temperature as well.
Yeah. And the
sounds.
That's the amazing part, right? Like, or how powerful your mind is, right? Like, you're able to, like, send yourself into a place where it doesn't exist, but it really does exist. You know what I mean? You make it real by just being able to be there. I like to see things. I like to observe. I'm an observer, like, naturally. So it makes sense for me to kind of, like, wake up and be like, wait, is this a dream? Is this not? And then, like, I see a bird with, like, no wings, and it's flying. Like, okay,
with no wings.
Yeah. Okay. This is definitely a dream because it's flying without wings. Like, what? So yeah, I feel like I can recognize when I am dreaming and when I'm not. When I don't recognize when I'm dreaming, that's scary for me, because I'm faced with, like, the unknown, right? Like, what's gonna happen? I don't even know what's gonna happen. I'm not even in my mind yet to, like, say what's gonna happen next. I'm just, like, dealing with situations, like, that happen at that moment. And sometimes it's, like, things that happen, like, out of left field. I mean, right field or left field, but I don't know. They're still enjoyable to me. It's like, I mean, it's not so far from, like, reality, right? Like, you know what's gonna happen in your day, but you don't know really what's gonna happen on your day, because something different could, like, just happen to you. You know what I mean? And you only know when it happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we're currently, like, present right now, and around, again, outside of us, it's all relative, and I have no clue what's going on there right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's that story about the cat in the box, where you put a cat in a box, but you don't know if it's dead, alive, or what it's doing, like eating or peeing or pooping, or the tree that falls in the forest. If there's no observer there, did it really make a sound?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Wow. So do you feel like your dreams, sometimes I feel like maybe there's some inherent connection to the way we dream, due to our ancestors or our grandparents, and how they dreamed, and it's just full of symbolism. And do you have a connection with, or is your artwork, they got to be related, you're dreaming and you being an artist? Would you be able to be this observant if you were not an artist?
I've always kind of felt that if I had one chance to, like, do something else, to be instead of being an artist, that would fulfill, like, my enjoyment of, like, expressing myself, would be singing. Because I feel when you sing, like, you're in a true point of, like, feeling and, like, communicating what you feel. Now, do I feel like my dreams have, you said, influenced my artwork? I totally do. I feel that my dream is the rabbit hole that I go through, that I go into, and my artwork is what I I absorb from my dreamland and I bring it out to
Mm-hmm.
my reality. So I do. I definitely do feel like it. I feel that if I wasn't an artist, as in like a visual artist, I probably would not be as detailed with my expression or my dreams or what I see, what I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like I was meant to be an artist, to be able to use those different elements, those different elements of art through spoken word, through performance art, to visual art. I feel like I was meant to be that artist, so then I can truly express my being, my existence, or my pre-existence, like with my ancestors. I used to tell. All right, there was this huge understanding that I ended up like having when I was going through the pre-cancer and then after cancer, and it was before I knew I could draw, and that's all I knew. Oh, I could draw. Oh, I can get friends by drawing. Oh, I can meet somebody by drawing, by giving them a drawing, by doing this. I can break the ice by just drawing something, and then someone goes, "Oh, you can draw." Oh, yeah. Oh, what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. But I stopped right there. Like I was satisfied with that, right? But then when I got older and right before I got diagnosed, I started really embracing the art as like, this is my life. I could do more than just break the ice. You know what I mean? I can educate. I can be an advocate. I can, be a teacher. I could be, whatever. You know what I mean? And then I started thinking like, you know what, dude? I'm a chain. I'm a link in a chain. And this chain is like ancient. It goes all the way back to the first human being that ever used a tool or anything to draw something on a wall, on a cave.
Yeah.
Like, and then the evolution of like people, right? And then society, and then artists and the Renaissance and all that. Like, I'm part of that chain, that ancient chain of that movement of visionaries. I'm not just Miguel Machuca living in 2020, an artist, and all I want to do is get my art out there. No, dude, I'm part of this ancient movement, dude. Like, I'm a visionary, dude. Like, thousands of years ago, there was a person that I can relate to just by the expression of being a visionary. You know what I mean? And so at that moment, I realized that I was part of something bigger than just myself, and that I have a responsibility to that privilege of being an artist,
Yeah.
And so I wanna honor that, like, in every way possible with my artwork. You know what I mean? And the awareness of like, I need to remember every day where I truly come from and what I'm truly part of. I feel like in today's era, like, people are kind of like made to think that you have a certain purpose only, and that's to get up, pay bills, work, have some time for yourself, do you, be in social media, and have a career, right? When in reality, you're part of something bigger than that. That's just a small fraction of like of what you're really truly supposed to be doing in this world, right? I mean, like, for a visionary, or for an artist, like for example, a visual artist can show you so much through self-expression within that person, that individual, and then another person comes and sees this piece, and they're like, they understand something else from that piece that could not be related to what the artist really wanted to say, but that painting spoke to that person and brought something out of that person within inside them. You know what I mean? That's an amazing thing. That now imagine if people really truly talk to each other and try to understand each other, how much more in common we all really have, and how much power we all have to, by one painting, you can change someone's life. A singer, right? they could feel so like passionate about singing some lyrics, and they sing it in such frequency where it almost feels like this voice, this sound is like reaching into the person that's listening into their soul and brings some sort of emotion out that makes you cry. That's amazing to me. Like, so I mean, when I made that realization about like that, I'm a link to that ancient chain. Like, I just took my art in my art career as in a different way. Like I have this responsibility. I have to be truthful every single time I decide to show some sort of artwork, you know? Yeah.
That's what I enjoy about your artwork is, and being a studio, sharing a studio with you, is that I always enjoyed the way your intention was when you created your artwork. Like every single stroke, the way you stroke, and also the symbolism that you put into it has been super intentional and very rooted with meaning, which I felt like was a strength of yours from conceptually. And then creating your piece, you just like, it's like boom, like you set the intention, and then you put it into vision,
right.
as a visionary,
right?
And that's what I really enjoyed about your
your
journey, creating pieces, and how much you care. I could tell you're so passionate, and you care a lot about your art.
Yeah, I feel like you have to, right? I mean, you have
sometimes
to care.
For some people.
Yeah, for some people. For me, like, I feel like I have to care. Like, it's my baby, it's my creation. I need to bring it out to the world in the best version possible, so it could do its job. You know what I mean? When I had that show at the Triton, someone asked me, "Why don't you know what you should have? You should have like this small paragraph in each piece explaining what it is." And I'm like, "No, you're right. Like, I should have done that, but you know what? I realized that I didn't want to do that." And they're like, "Well, why not? Wouldn't you have other people like understanding your pieces better?" And I'm like, "But that's not what I want. I want people to understand their own version of what my piece sparks in their mind, because the joy that I have is hearing someone else tell me what they see and feel through the images that I produce, because your story is authentic. And if I can create something within myself that means something totally different and hear your perspective on what it spoke to you, I just think it's amazing. Because then I can go say, wow, that's an amazing story. Well, let me tell you what it really is about. And then they're like, wow, like I didn't even see that. And I feel like that's the beautiful part. You know what I mean? You have different perspectives from one same source of visual. You know what I mean? I tell I often say, like, I say it to poets, to people that do poetry. My paintings, my visual art are my poems. You see images, I see words. So like the pieces that you're showing, I see images, but I see a story. I see words. I see sentences. I see stories. I see the thoughts. You know, I see the periods, the commas. You know, I see all that. And when I read a poem, I see images. So it's like it's a cool relationship. You know. Like this piece that you're showing right now, like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, and this is the type of person I am. Okay, I'm the type of person that I'm in the moment. So as I'm going through this piece, right, and you see the arms, you see the triangle, you see the spheres, you see the electricity, the energy, the scare of all that. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just being in the moment, in the present, and I'm letting each stroke, each piece of charcoal or whatever, as I lay it down, to tell me what it wants it to be. But it all resonates from one thought, like transcend. Let me visually explain to you what transcend means to me. what symbols that I can put together speak of transcending. And that's how it begins for me. And as I am going through that piece and layering it and like adding stuff to it, I begin to understand a little more of what that means to me. So it has life on its by itself. Like it's teaching me how, it's educating my conscious self. My subconscious is teaching my conscious self about my reality and my spirituality. It's fucking crazy, dude. Like
That's dope.
It's a piece of wood, but the wood, where does it come from? Trees. Where the trees live on Earth. How far does the root go? Far. If a tree could reach hell, it could reach the heavens, right? So I'm using this element and the charcoal. The charcoal, what does it represent for me? Ash. When a body is burned, cremated, what do we turn into? Ash. If a body is buried, what happens to the body? It decomposes. And then what else happens? Maggots come along. What happened with maggots? They eat flesh. Maggots are not bad. They're actually part of your cycle. You are being you're transcending, right? You're becoming part of the earth. You know, you're in a box, but you're in the earth. Like there is, you see when like how my mind just begins to like,
I feel you.
Just a waterfall of like just thoughts that are emotions, and the emotions turn into actions. Like someone asked me, like, well, there's this thing where people say, what is art? And then people will ask me, well, what is art to you? And I hear other people like, well, art to me is this and art. But I heard someone say, and I don't remember who it was, but they're like, art is an idea. The rest is just action. So the word transcend was an idea. And all the visuals that you see from that piece is just the action that I did to get to that. So the A and the B, right? Yeah, most people get hung up on A and B. Oh, I need to be prepared. Oh, I better get to this place. I feel like A and B is just normal. It's the in between those 2 points that is crucial to you evolving as a person. It's the journey. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just the journey. It's and so that's why I feel so attached to these pieces. And this particular piece here is like basically I feel like that person that's sitting down, it's trying to teach itself how to be still, but at the same time feel the power of movement. That's why it's like the legs are kind of like almost touching the ground, but then you see another pair of legs kind of like moving like an echo. You know what I mean? I want you to know that life is movement. You know what I mean? The hand gestures is it talks about loss of attraction. What thought that you manifest, it's that thought that you're going to send out into the world, into the universe. And then the universe is going to collect that idea, which is the scarab, collect the idea, look back at you, and send back to you what you're trying to manifest, which is the cycle. That the first hand, which is like this, then the second hand is like this, releasing it, and then the third hand that's okay by sending it. Then it goes to the scarab, which means that's the universe like doing its job, doing its natural thing. And then you become to where like you take it and then you grab it and then you put it back to yourself. And then the bottom leaves are it's earth, and then the eye is you evolving as a person. The planets are basically I call them planets, but they're really spheres of light, because they're going through stages like alchemy almost, you know, boom, 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 until it becomes this one source, which is the light, which is the very first, the very light that's between the humanoid and the scarab. That's the enlightenment. Like that's the spark. That's the light at the end of the tunnel that we're always searching for. And the eye at the bottom is your awareness. And the triangles and shapes have so much like meaning to so many different people. And even like I've been reading that this type of symbols are also used in satanic rituals and satanic like culture. Once I learned that, bro, like I wanted to burn my work. I wanted to be like, I woke up, I was so emotional. I was like, I need to burn my work. I need to destroy it because I don't want to be promoting like negative symbology. But then I started thinking, why am I going to give it that meaning just because there is people out there from long ago that have made these symbols as something negative and dark? So I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to use these symbols and I'm going to introduce them in a different way. Like I'm not going to go to that. I'm not going to use them that way. I'm going to use them for expressing the understanding and the love and passion that I have of my being, my presence, and life itself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I know people are gonna look at that and not be like, oh, he believes, he's a Satanist. No, they're gonna look at it and be like, wow, like it makes me feel good. Like, and that's when I decided not to burn my work. Like, dude, seriously, like maybe a month ago, I woke up and I was like, I looked at the piece that I have in my living room, and I was like, I'm gonna destroy it. But then like I stepped back and I was like, no.
Where did you hear that information?
Well, I see that a lot on like the internet, like, and I even like I Googled and I was like, show me symbols of Satanism, and then like the triangle, like like a whole bunch of different symbols, dude, like have been used in the past, ancient past too, as like dark symbols. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, okay, all right, so there's a lot of it. Let me Google symbols of like faith or God, and you have like limited ones. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, why is there so many symbols that explain so much shit about like Satan or like evil or like the darkness and the pits of hell? And yeah, there's only a few that represent God. And I saw that the symbol that represents God is just a circle, a perfect circle. I like that. I really like that. But that's what the triangle means to me. And then I read that the triangle is the strongest shape, because it has all equal sides, but it's also like it's pointed, and it's like it just creates energy, dude. So I wanted to use it that way, like meaning like I'm in a strong point in my life. My vessel is a strong place to be in, and I'm gonna seek power through it and light through it. So that's, yeah, I like symbology in my work.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, man. I guess I try to like, I try not to I don't want to produce work that gives power to the dark forces. You know what I mean? I don't know. I guess that's like just the crazy part in myself. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, I always say like, you got to embrace the darkness. You got to embrace that dark part of like humanity so you can evolve as a person and bring light. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Did I just ramble?
No.
Oh, okay.
I totally feel you. It's something that I've been thinking about, and also growing within myself, growing as a Catholic person. I grew up as a
me too.
Catholic, but recently I've been diving into more and exploring more, not just falling into a conclusion. And then that's also where the light and the dark comes into play, because there is a dark side in all of us that we need to explore and look at. For example, I just learned that my partner, she was a part of a lead Filipino group, and there's this exercise where this Filipino group, they go back right when the Spaniards came in and murdered the tribes, and they went into one of the people, or okay, rewind, tribe. They go to the tribe and they read as the person in the tribe. Like, my name is a Tagalog. That's Tagalog name. I am from this tribe, and my tribe was 60%, 70% of my tribe were murdered. The people who are left who are compliant to the Spaniards are I am now baptized, and my name is now the Spanish name.
Mm-hmm.
Converted. So that rings a little bit of a exploration in myself, where I'm just like, okay, there's some there's some more light into that explanation of like what's going on there. There are many tribes that are murdered, even like 90%, and the people who were only able to live were the people who were compliant to become a Catholic,
right,
baptized, right. And I can see, like, so now it's present day, it's like this extreme of like Satanism and Catholicism. But what about paganism? Paganism being like believing in many gods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still exploring, still researching what went on, but you could see like the whole, I guess, I'm not sure where I'm going at with this, but the colonialism and how it's rooted in our present day.
Yeah.
And how, because I feel like your intent with your visuals has nothing to do with Satanism, but it's more so sacred geometry that we use to make architecture, create art. Everything is within the circle, the square, the triangle.
But see, like, let me stop it right there. And that's one of the crazy things that I do see sacred geometry as, like, when I begin to dive myself into sacred geometry, I saw it as something like divine, like divinity, light. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I dig deep into sacred geometry, and that's even to a certain society. It's considered like Satanism because it's not of God, of God. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I kind of like have a battle with it myself, thinking like, how can that be bad if God created everything, right? And I'm not talking about like the God that everyone thinks God is. Like, I'm talking about the energy that is God, that is the creator of everything. How could it be a bad thing? Like, if sacred geometry can help you become a better person, a more enlightened, more aware person of your reality, you know what I mean? How can that be a bad thing? And I think that's just like the influence that colonialism did to people. Like, they introduced this fabricated idea of like what God is. And in Catholicism, I was born into that religion. I was never asked before I was conceived, hey, Miguel, what would you like to believe in? Christianity, you know, being a Christian, a Catholic, a Buddhist, like what? We didn't have that choice. We were born into that environment. But what I can remember from Catholicism is it's about guilt. It's a lot of guilt. Oh, if you don't live your life this way, you're going to go to hell. Well, then how can I become a better person if I don't go through those things? Like, there's contradiction within that whole concept. So I feel that I had a better understanding of my faith. At a certain point, I realized I am a man of faith. I believe in God. I believe in saints. I believe in miracles. I believe in light. I believe in the Holy Spirit. You know what I mean?
And angels.
I believe in angels. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't have that full understanding of where I believe truly until I was exposed to Christianity, Buddhism, like all these different religions, even civilizations, like different civilizations. It helped me understand my faith. So it's like I adopted the positive things of every religion or faith or civilization, spirituality, to construct my own faith and my own strength in that faith. I don't think God is a man. I feel that I don't think God is a woman. I don't think God is even has a body part. I feel like God is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. You know what I mean? So therefore, we're part of it. So then we're part of God as well. When people talk about Jesus, right? I believe there was a Jesus. I believe that there was a person that was trying to show people how to live with themselves better, to become better. You know what I mean? To bring these people to the light. As I believe that in ancient civilizations, there was a Jesus in their own version as well. Yeah, when I think of a creator, I think of energy. We're all energy. We die, our physical self regenerates in something else, and our energy goes back to that source. That's really how I see God, and how I feel like, yeah. And then, at home I have a picture of Jesus, and I feel like I put a candle to it, and those are just customs that I accept, and I let myself accept those things because they make me feel closer to my family and to the life I lived back in Mexico, and it makes it like familiar to me. It reminds me of my dad. Like, so why erase those things out of my life? Like, if I have full understanding that the Jesus that I see on that picture, it's a fabricated like picture of a white Jesus, like, but I have an understanding that Jesus, if he was alive, he was not white. You know what I mean? I have an understanding of that, and I don't let that bother me. I feel like I can see through that. It's just an object that helps me feel better. You know what I mean? It's almost like as I have my little altar and Jesus and my Virgin Mary and the Guadalupe and all that, it's like me doing my ritual for laws of attraction. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I pray, I send out a prayer for people, I light a candle for people, I light a candle for myself, because I'm trying to do a ritual where I can like transcend good energy, you know what I mean? And throw good thoughts and pray for people, you know what I mean? It's like when you say, hey man, I really missed you, man, and it's great catching up to you, please take care, man. It's like, it's the same thing. You're just not in front of that person, you're in front of yourself, and you're saying, please, take care of my friends, take care of their life, take care of like their movement, take care of like, I'm gonna light a candle for them so they can see the light. I feel that that's all acceptable and it's all good. So religion could be a really like a big separator, like divider, or it could be a big tool to like really understand everyone. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
most definitely.
Sorry.
Like with the Filipino culture, there's Santo Niño, which is the baby Jesus.
Yeah.
And when I was a little kid, we had this very, very energetic Santo Niño that was gifted to my mom and dad, I think. But the eyes were like made so real that I'm observing myself as a child looking at the Santo Niño and just saying, like, I would always give gratitude to Santo Niño. And I always felt like that doll was watching me.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
Like, I'm just exploring and observing myself and my feelings. And I, as my journey went on until present day, also thought about like Christ consciousness and not seeing Christ as a certain color. And because like as an artist, it also brings a certain awareness to how propaganda works.
Yeah, exactly.
And also with literature, like it seems like most religions were formed because of literature, a book. Like, have we seen a movie that maybe a cult classic that will cause a cult? But what's the difference between a cult and a religion?
Right.
And just observing myself as present day and seeing what is real to me and what really matters. And for example, the Bible, the KKK, they're Christians. They consider themselves Christians and go by the Bible. And then you have Filipinos, also the Bible. And similar to, I feel like, the Mexican culture, we have a Lady of Guadalupe, baby Jesus, all these different forms. But I'm also just keeping a perspective, stepping back and seeing how how I used to feel very guilty for having certain thoughts.
Yeah.
And how much guilt that gave me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, instead of really understanding like why am I feeling guilty? Also the thoughts that I'm having may be a collective thought that we all share.
Mm-hmm.
It is not my thought to hold and to keep as mine. It's not, we all share these thoughts, the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
Even the bad ones, the good ones.
Yeah.
And it's whether you are aware of that these are not your thoughts and the chatter that's going on in your mind. And then it goes into like, oh, guilty. Like, and then you start waning or threading in your pain body.
I mean, I rather project like I rather pray not because I feel guilty, but I rather pray because I feel like I want to share good energy and send it off to people I care about.
Yeah.
And even people that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it's okay to do that. You know what I mean? Like there's that story, right? The story with Jesus, like that he knew that Judas was gonna like backstab him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he knew, but he was like, I knew that you were gonna do that, but it's okay. So it's like, why in that context? Why should we feel guilty of the things that we're doing if it's okay already? Like all you need to do is just basically learn from it and share good energy. Like learn from that. You know what I mean? Not feel guilty, but like learn your mistake or where it's generating from, that thought, that guilty thought, and then dismantle it and see what's happening. Is it am I feeling guilty because it's my guilt, me feeling guilty, or it was taught to me that it was guilt and I was being a bad person and I have to pray so I could go to heaven? Like, no, I feel that, you know, we all need to feel, to make those mistakes so we can like make ourselves better. And I don't think that, you know, I just feel that, you know, as I'm sitting here right now and I'm feeling this table and feeling right now, I'm feeling my thoughts and my emotions. I feel a little confused of what I'm saying, but sure. I feel that like the main point that I want to say is that I feel it's okay to be able to pray to make yourself feel better. And whatever praying means to you, could be saying a poem, reciting a poem, could be talking to yourself, could be pretending that you're talking to somebody. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, like it's okay. Like it's not bad. Just because it was a fabricated idea. Like I could use that fabricated idea of what religion is, but I could use that for a positiveness for myself. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to make it that what it is. Like for example, like the symbols of Satanism, right? I don't have to, I can use those symbols, but I don't have to bring in what other people say it represents. I can use those same symbols and give it its own unique representation of light. You know what I'm saying? So I guess with that, I'm saying like it's okay to, it's a good thing that we were all born into certain religions, because it's given us the chance to recognize what we really truly feel, and we decide to adopt from those fabricated ideas. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I explained myself correctly, but I'm pretty sure that I kind of did a good job.
Hey, I'm always confused.
It's just weird, man. Like religion is such a weird thing, right? Like, I mean, it's such a crazy concept. Like you just said, like, you know, KKK, right? They're all Christians, right?
They're all Christians.
But when they are around other people of color and other people of like cultures, they seem to have this really negative vision of who we are. You know what I mean? So how can like something that good that they believe in, right, create so much division and hate and you know what I'm saying? Like, how can that be? You know, how can that be? Like, I don't know. Like, I could be a Christian, but I could accept other people's from different cultures and different backgrounds and different religions. I don't know.
This was an episode from Bell, last name Bell. He was on CNN. He's kind of like a version of Anthony Bourdain, but instead of food, he lives in Berkeley, African American, and he has a show called Kamal Bell is his name. Has a show called The Different Shades of America, and he actually visits the KKK. And the thing is, it seems like they don't want to. They don't have anything against the people of color. They have a lot of pride in their own race, and they just want to keep it pure. And they have their rituals where they burn a cross, and it's kind of crazy. Like, yeah, I haven't done so much research on it, but they have. I think everything is rooted in this transition of colonialism, which gives the right or gives the way of what the KKK believes, and gives the way of how Filipinos have their beliefs, and also Mexican, and wherever this divide and conquer mindset came from. And it was just, I want to dive in deeper and connect the puzzles. I just saw a comedy skit on Netflix by John Leguizamo. You know John Leguizamo?
Yeah. That's one of my favorite actors and comedians.
Yeah, he's so talented.
Yeah,
and has a very big passion, what it seems like, in activism, because very theatrical, and a true artist as well.
Definitely.
He has. It's called the history of Latin America, and so would you consider yourself Chicano, Mexican, like you coming from your perspective, because he was more for or actually he was more about Latin, and then I hear other people from LA saying they consider themselves Chicano, because Latin comes from the root of Latin, whatever, what is Latin from, right? It's not indigenous, the word Latin, and they consider themselves Chicano. That's more of them. And for me, it's now I'm starting to realize, Philippines, that's King Felipe, conqueror. I don't want to vibe with that anymore. I'm Pinoy, that's another term, but that's just the end of Filipino, Pinoy, Pinay. And I just realized my last name is not Borja. That's Spanish. My real last name is Magcalas. Magcalas. That's Tagalog. And my dad and his family, they didn't want to use that because it sounded ugly. Borja sounded better, so they kept it.
That's crazy, right?
But do you see the little nuances of ideations and of just it's better to be light skinned, or it's because if you go I myself in high school, I had blue contacts. At one point, I put blue contacts on and dyed my hair white.
Okay.
Or not white, blonde.
Bleached it, right?
Bleached it. Maybe inspiration from Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball Z, going Super Saiyan, they turn white.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
Let me think about this a little more. These little unintentional constructs that are set in my mind. But as a journey of an artist, I'm starting to realize I could step back, look at a painting, but now step back from my own mind, look at my mind, step back from history, look at the whole history of what's going on, and kind of have this because we all have an amnesia, a full-blown amnesia of where we came from. And I feel like it's just helping me. It's a tool that's helping me just get more perspective, but not really, like you said, you want to keep the things that are most helpful as a human being. But just those little details, I'm just like, wow.
So then how do you like define your heritage then? Like, if not Filipino or Pinay or Pinoy, how do you define yourself? Like, I know you probably haven't found exactly what it is, but like an idea of what you feel you truly are. Like, what is it?
Yeah, and so during that Filipino class that my partner has been taking, that I think it was Indo, like what was like the one of the original.
The chronic in there? No, I'm just kidding.
That Indo. But I never really thought that far of myself. There's a lot more to think on. And what's the question again? Like
how do you define yourself? Like, if not Filipino or like Pinoy, like, because you want to step away from that colonialism title, you know what I mean? Like, how do you define yourself? How, an idea of it? Like, I know you probably don't have pinpointed yet, but like, do you have any type of like clue or?
Yeah, so all this knowledge that and research that I've been doing has been fairly recent, an inspiration of the Black Lives Movement, right? And I started thinking about, like, how far is this amnesia, and how far is our history of the current times that we are in, like the African Americans being slaves, right? That's only 1 or 2 generations away. 3 generations, which is like a person can live up to 100 years old.
Yeah,
it's not that far away. That link, that connection of slavery is that's why things are happening right now the way they are. Even if it's bad, even if it's good, it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's meant to happen because of certain things. And like, we could blame people all we want, right? Or it's all a blame game at this point.
It is. It
or
is.
Or a learning experience at this point. Right. If you haven't done the work, and it's really hard to do the inner work, especially with all the distortion. But my definition of me as a human being in present day, I hold close my ancestors because that's family. I'm very curious about the stories that existed, and just being in the environment that we currently live in. I am, like we were talking about earlier, like, damn, because of the resilience of our ancestors, we are here right now. I'm given the opportunity to create art and live during this time. So I'm living right now as a human being, but I do hold close to my roots because it's like a tree. Like going to Santa Cruz, like all the redwood forests, like they make fairy circles when they grow as a family, and they're like super rooted. And I feel like I'm a tree.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. I saw this article, or this it was not an article, but it was like a small I don't know, not a meme, but it was just something that I saw on social media, and it leads to a different page where it actually explains it. But it says, why do you think have you noticed that the shape of like your fingerprint, the print on your finger, like the pattern, it's almost the same as a tree, like when you cut the tree, right?
The layers and the layers of the tree. So
it's like, I mean, I mean, we can identify ourselves as trees as well. I just think that it's such a not coincidence, but it's such a close relation of how our outer environment really does look like us, and we look like it. You know, we have the same features, like the eyes, like the pupil, like you can see, like in the space, like how certain entities or certain things in space look like an eyeball. You know what I mean? Like the pupil, or like, you know, stuff like that kind of reminds me of that. It kind of makes me think of like, okay, so when I say I'm Mexican, right? Why do I say I'm Mexican? Because I'm from Mexico. And that's how I identify myself. I'm Mexican. You know what I mean? I don't like to say that I'm Latin because I just come from Latin America. I mean, that's just like setting like a point of where you're from and why people identify themselves as Latin. But for me, it's like I truly don't know yet until like I do more research and really feel like that I can definitely call myself something like. But as of now, I mean, I could just honestly relate to like just saying I'm a human being. I'm a human being.
Yeah.
I'm a human being. That's it. I don't have a race. I don't have a religion, like a set religion. I'm just a human being on earth. And I'm adopting everything I can so I could just be a better version. And I do feel that our ancestors that suffered and our ancestors that survived, they set a motion for everyone else to be at this point. Just like predestined, like we were talking about destiny, right? That had to happen, and then time passed from A to B.
Yeah.
And it's the journey that all that took place to where we're at now. And now we are all actually questioning all that. Like, the reason why I say Mexican is because someone said, "Oh, you're not Mexican, you're a Mexica."
Mexica.
Mexica sounds more indigenous, and it's like it's also more like it explains like our race. You know what I mean?
Did you say it was before Azteca or like what Mexica?
Well,
is,
I mean, Mexica is basically like what you're not Mexican, you're Mexica. That's even like the word Mexico. It's not even supposed to be pronounced Mexico. It's supposed to be Mexica, like
Mexica.
as a country. So I'm a Mexica. I'm like a person of that descendants. But the Aztecs were my ancestors. You know, Mayans. You know what I mean? They're yeah. So it's they're great influence to who I am today. You know, like even though what I wear and how I express myself through my artwork and stuff like that, they're like for example, like one of my pieces, I have a cactus, and that's like nopales. So it's like nopal. It's a great visual of my culture. You know what I mean? So I use it as well. I don't know. I guess I can't really truly define who I am as a race, because I feel more connected as a human being, you know, than anything else. So I mean, it's crazy how like colonialism really like changed so much for so many people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even the way you think nowadays, like it just seems crazy to me. And I just feel that we're in the road to kind of we're like we're moving forward, becoming more aware by looking into our past and what happened into our past as like people, and then becoming aware and changing it all, set it right. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, so. Because the framework that we're in right now, right? You paint an art piece and then you put a frame around it. So right now there's a frame around our current structure of colonialism. Like this whole the whole copy and paste, parking lots, highways, cars, and the office work.
Yeah,
we were hunting, and back in the day, and it brings me around to, there was Dave Cho, the artist. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast just recently, and
I saw your link. Yeah, I haven't checked it out, but I've been wanting to check it out.
It was so good.
Was it?
He actually went to be with a tribe in Africa, and going back it seems like he mentioned that going back to Africa has like helped him. You got to go back to Africa for some reason, just like Dave Chappelle went to Africa after
when shit got crazy. He had to go back.
He had to go back. Right?
Yeah.
And so there's some like, it seems like back in the 70s people went to India or something, but this time it's like Africa. So he was with a tribe. I think it's called the Hadzu tribe, and they are, it seems like they live super present day, and no electronics, no nothing. It's just they spend the whole day hunting and joking around with each other and just being with the family. And they like go to like there's like honeybees combs, and they're able to grab honeycombs, and the bees don't affect them, they don't sting them. But when David went to grab one, he got stung, and then his whole hand swelled up.
That's like crazy right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And then they mentioned like, oh, because he had a translator with him, and they're like, he's like asking him, do you guys want to go to America? And then I guess the only thing that they heard about America is like, isn't that the place where people jump off ledges to kill themselves?
Wow.
And they're like, why would we want to go there?
Wow.
Right. And so just having that perspective of tribalism versus working in an office or something, our society, and the things that are constructed like over there, it's family. They're worried about hunting. One of the people in the tribe said they used to have all sorts of animals here to hunt. They could just eat whenever and hunt from like all these different types of animals. Now they're hunting baboons. And that's like their main source of food at the moment is hunting baboons.
Wow.
And it's kind of crazy to compare that lifestyle and the mental illnesses that exist current day versus them, that a tribe of like less than 1,000, and what they their own interpersonal experience. Like Dave Cho was, I think they made a picture for the tribe that he gave it to them, and they're like, oh, cool, and then just like kind of threw it away. Like they don't need to carry all these things with them.
There's no need to like collect and keep it.
No
like,
collecting, no keeping.
It's just accepting it, looking at it, and then
like it's best to have as least things on you as possible in order to like hunt. Right.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's awesome. I'm excited to see that. Dave Cho has hella stories. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. And it's kind of crazy that, I mean, we've like separated ourselves so far from like, you know, the natural part of ourselves, right? Like, and it's called sophistication, like, oh, sophisticated person, like, you know, but are you really like sophisticated in the right way? Or is it just like
there's addictions,
like an illusion, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like people, they also mentioned like people are addicted to porno, addicted to video games.
Oh yeah, dude. Like,
right?
I'm guilty of that.
Same here. I used to.
Well, not with pornography, okay? I mean, I like it, but you know, whatever. Yeah. No, I totally hear it, dude. Like
everyone's been.
I totally hear it, dude. Like, and you know what? It's crazy, man. It's like and not that I'm diving into it, but I've noticed it that it's taking a shift, dude. Like it's like now with pornography, dude, it's like talking about some weird stuff, dude. Like it's trying to push it's promoting a certain type of, I don't know, it's just crazy, man. Like incest and like, you know, stuff like that. And it's just crazy to me, man. It's just crazy to me how that is just growing into a different like thing. Video games, you know, I'm guilty of that. I like playing video games. I enjoy myself playing video games because it allows me to just kind of distress from my life in a way. And I enjoy it, just like movies as well. You know what I mean? Is that all? That's basically almost like David Show giving them that drawing, and then you take it, and then okay, oh thanks, and then it's gone, right? We don't do that. We collect all these things because all these things are it's me. It's a representation of me. Like when you know, we could still feel the representation of us, but not carry all those things. Not give so much into those objects. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like nowadays, even though we're still fighting that fight to break from like colonialism, I feel that the involvement of sophistication that has pushed people to be, it's now opened a new door into looking back to how we were before and not going backwards, but like now making that a like a point to like go back to our roots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being able to now that the world and the earth is like at a point of like a boiling point, like it's now we need to look back to our ancestors and read those instructions against who we were, so we can rebuild ourselves, so we can find ourselves of who we really were. You know what I mean? I do understand that, you know, like Native Americans, right? They used to go out hunt, and they would hunt only what they need to survive for that season, right? They didn't overindulge on like killing massive amounts of like animals and then just storing them away like we do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an abuse of life, right? That's an abuse of our privilege, of the privilege that we have here on Earth. Like,
Yeah.
We don't need to make life beings like suffer and store away just for us to be able to eat later on. Like, I mean, it was all ritual. It was all like in the moment, you know. You had your hunters, you had your cultivators, you had your teachers, you had your chief, and then you had that female influence to give that nurturing like element. Family, environment. It was never us above our environment. It was the environment above us, right?
Yeah.
We had to adapt to Mother Earth, to the seasons, to all that stuff. And, you know, I feel that, you know, it's a lot of people are waking up to that. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to understand that, and they're trying to be part of it. They're trying to find themselves. I'm trying to find myself still, and I will keep finding myself. I think that when I die is when I'll have a better idea who I was. Is it okay if I tell you another story real quick? Of course. Okay, yeah. So a while ago, I guess before I was diagnosed, or between that, I saw this. It was in a channel. I forgot what channel it was, but it was a Chinese priest. And he was talking to a massive size group. And he was talking about like how we are so busy trying to protect and build what we have here on Earth in reality, versus thinking of protecting and taking care of our soul when we pass away. What's more important for you to live happy and like, you know, busy and trying to like build this foundation for yourself in this little blink of an eye of time on Earth, or take care of your subconscious self or your soul after you pass away? That could like lay in like believing in reincarnation, or believing like there's something after death. I do believe that there's something after death. I mean, it can't just all stop. Your energy, your body, your energy needs to transcend somewhere. So what I'm saying is that this priest was saying like, okay, he had a jump rope, right? And you know that every jump rope, they have like a wooden, you know, handle, right? And then the rope. So he says, just think about this. The handle is your lifespan. And the rope from this point to that point, just think about it, it's just long rope, right? You can even see the other end to it. Are you willing to sacrifice the time that you have here to just protect this and build something? So you're born, you go to school, you get a job, you spend hours working, not with family, not enjoying life itself, the simple things about life, just to grow old and then finally have a whole bunch of debt and just have a house. And are you willing to sacrifice that just for this amount of time? Or prepare your soul and your mind and your spirit, so when you get to this point, yeah, I mean, don't give up, don't like you become like, you know, don't live in the street, or I mean, or even live in the street if you do. Like, what I'm saying is like, don't waste your time on objects that don't really fulfill you as a person, but take care of what or where your soul is going to be at the end. Like, I would rather, I don't need Gucci, I don't need Louis Vuitton, I don't need a Ferrari, I don't need a Porsche, I don't need that stuff. They're just objects. They're illusions to me. I can go to Target and buy myself a black shirt, and I'm happy with that because I'm more fortunate than somebody else that doesn't have a black shirt. You know what I mean? Like, so I'd rather protect my spirituality, my soul, and wherever my energy is gonna go after my physical self perishes.
Yeah.
That's what I rather, and I feel like that's what he was trying to explain about faith. You know what I mean? Like, you have to understand that it's about protecting your soul and your mental health and your spiritual health versus like your physical self when you're living in this little blink of an eye time that we have. You know what I mean? As for me, like, I never thought that I was gonna be diagnosed with cancer, bro. I never in a million years thought that. I was like, no, like, that's not gonna ever happen to me. Why? Because I don't do things that are gonna lead me that way. But as I was thinking that, I got diagnosed with cancer. And it's crazy that once it hit my life, once it was presented, it presented itself in my life, I was just amazed on how like how unlucky I was. Like, wow, of course. I'm that one person that if I go out in the ocean with a million people out there, I'm the one that's going to get bit by a shark. That's how I always felt. I'm that unlucky person, that unfortunate person. But when cancer appeared itself into my life, dude, I was so scared. But then I went through this period of like fear, and I cried, and I voiced my frustrations and my thoughts, and then I came to a point where I just said, you know what? Okay. Life has given me this glass of water, and I was looking at it as a half empty, glass of water. But I stopped now. Now I can see that this glass of water has water in it, and I can still drink. And I'm going to accept this and then treasure this little bit of water, and I'm going to like quench my thirst. I'm no longer going to look at it as like, oh man, I'm fortunate that I don't have a full glass of water. I'm fortunate that I have a half a glass of water that I can drink and, replenish myself. So I want to embrace it. And I realized that it was actually a blessing that came into my life, because it forced me to accept that my mortality and the uncertainty of life and the understanding of how beautiful life is at the same time, even though it has so many dark stages. It's really you, dude, that counts on how you perceive that. Bro, when I came into remission, when I was in remission, the doctor told me, I wasn't even happy that she said, Mr. Machuca, you have no more cancer cells. I was like, oh, okay. I was waiting for the bad news.
Oh, wow.
I didn't hear the good news. I was like, okay.
Where does that come from?
I feel that it's a condition that I was forced to be in as a young person. Always something bad happening in my life that shaped me that way. Like something doesn't go right, and I go right to thinking the worst part of that can happen. Versus like something happens that's not really good, and saying like, okay, all right, I will be okay because I will find a solution. I will be okay because time will give me some time to figure it out. And if it's that time is taken away, I'm still going to be able to find a solution, because everything is okay no matter what. You just need to understand that it'll be okay. And it's not as tragic as you think it is. Even if someone in your family passes away, yeah, it's a bad thing, but it's not so tragic, because you can honor that person that perished within you. You can move on and honor that person in a certain way. You can learn from those lessons that person try to teach you, and become a better person. Like when my dad died, I feel that part of him, my love for him, reincarnated some part of himself into me. And this is why I'm so strong in visual arts and in my artwork and being an artist. Because I feel that, and now that I'm here in the United States and I've been here for so long and I'm an American citizen, like I can feel proud that my dad's perishing was worth it. His sacrifice was like he's living through me.
Wow.
Even though he's not here, because I can still speak his name. I can still speak of his influence. I can still speak of the love that I have for him.
Mm-hmm.
I have for him, not have for him, because we're all in present time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel you.
Yeah. So, cancer taught me that you just have to embrace those trials, man. Because without a trial like that, or in a different form, there's no evolving, dude. Like, there's gotta be a spark before there's fire, right? But what's before the spark? The things that you need to have to, so you can spark that and then catch fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you need those, like alchemy, right? You need to combust certain elements to get something else, right? And that's why I feel life is about. It's that journey, dude. It's the journey and the tribulations and the trials and the evolving. I totally am a big believer in that. I'm a big believer in that. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem, dude.
Yeah,
I'm always glad to share that part. Like, a lot of people that I've talked to that had cancer, like they kind of like stay quiet, and I get it, I mean, but I don't want to be quiet about it, man. I want to voice it out, and I know some people like probably feel like, oh, he's talking about that again, but that's okay, because maybe they're not ready to hear that, you know what I mean? But
I feel like it helps people as
well.
Helps inspire,
right?
Like the way you transmuted it as like an alchemist.
Totally, dude. It's that combustion, right? That moment of combustion that is everything, dude. Like, without that combustion, there's no change.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a big thing in human existence, that in even society, when something really drastic happens, people change.
Mm-hmm.
But then after a while, people go back to kind of that pattern, and then another tragic thing happens, and then people wake up again. It's time for us to no longer have those tragic moments, so we can wake up again and change things. And I feel like that's human nature, right? Like, we have to, when we change is when something bad really happens. I want to get to a point like where people just change and just keep going up, and there's no need for like tragic moments in life. But I mean, there's it's gonna happen, and why not use that as like something to grow as a person and as a human being, and have more compassion for other people,
Most definitely. Compassion indeed.
Yeah.
Because what you all shared right now, I was having thoughts about also people have some people have no time to even think about their inner self or even work on themselves. For example, Dave Cho, he's been working on himself, right? But he's had the privilege to because of his tool of money, and also the amount of time he has to go to seek help, whereas a lot of people who are underprivileged, are marginalized, do not have the time to seek help or the tools to seek help, and maybe are stuck in their environment situation where it's so difficult. Because it's hard enough for me to work on myself, right? It's hard enough for me, and I'm still growing, and it's taken up to this moment in time to grow as a person at the age of 37, and I feel like I still have a ton of more work to do.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine for how 7 billion people in this construct, in this architecture, how do they have the ability to work on themselves?
Mm-hmm.
If they have shitty parents, if they have no parents, if they are in a environment that is not set up to have them exist in their best selves.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where the root cause is sprung from. There's not enough time. People are too busy like the parents, it could even go to the parents who do not have time to work on themselves, which stretches out to them.
Mm-hmm.
And looping back into the KKK, that era of colonialism is connected to why the way they are,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Is because they haven't had the time to, or the environment to really think about these things. And what it's going to take is a fucking radical change.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
how possible is that? When it's so hard to change on your own.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, definitely.
And I'm looking at things now as like, if someone murders somebody, hell no, that's horrible, but it's happening for a reason. For example, I had this strange cog in my head I've been watching Into the Dark. I think it's this docuseries about the Golden State Killer. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
The Golden State Killer is this serial killer that just raped and killed people all throughout Golden State for more than a decade.
Wow.
Maybe 2 decades.
Wow.
And he was a Vietnam. He was in Vietnam, I hear, and a cop.
Really?
So my thinking was, I'm not trying to justify like what he did, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was just thoughts that came in, like, okay, because we went to the Vietnam War, because the U.S. went into the war, was that one decision of having the U.S. go into the war caused like these little microcosms of trauma that was brought back to the United States. And because of that, going into that war, putting our own people into that war caused the distortion that is in present day.
Yeah.
That's just one Vietnam War. What about the Iraq War?
What about World War?
War, right? One and two. That trauma, because is rooted. Like I'm trying to look at all the roots, the root causes of this equation that's happening right now.
Yeah, no, totally. I kind of hear that. Like I heard a story, or I read part of that story that Hitler, before he became Hitler, he was actually in the first war, I guess, and he was a soldier, and they were defeated. But then later on, he had so much, like, he was actually an artist, and he would make money by painting and drawing like structures and stuff like that, like if I can remember correctly. But there was this like resentment about like being beat, and so he changed, and he was like so voiceful about it, and people in high positions decided to use him as a tool, right? And I guess how driven he was to like, and so then he became who he became, and then look at all that havoc like that just happened, throughout the world. Like
I heard he was rejected as an artist too.
Yeah,
from
he was
school.
exactly, and he was super good. Like, so that's another example of like, how like people are. Would it be the same if you know what I'm saying? Like, just like that guy, like that he went to Vietnam, and then was that decision that the United States made, was it the cause of this man coming back and just causing like horror and like havoc for like people's lives? Like the took out, imagine all that energy that he wiped, you know what I mean? At the same time,
and it's still in a form of a web,
affecting
people.
Exactly. And look at it now, you know what I mean? Like with women being murdered and silenced, and kids, and I mean, have you been hearing about this like pedophilia type of shit like that's going on in the world? And
because of the Epstein.
Yeah, it's crazy that one man's story that's tied to so many different people, and then that death has opened up so many wounds, and it's planet, like the whole planet, and like the world, like different people from the world, like it's just freaking crazy, man. And there's like people that are trying to like normalize that too, like pedophilia. Like I just don't understand that. I don't understand it because you're talking about people's energy. You're talking about people's like presence, existence. Like no one has the right to like overrule over somebody else, dude. Like we're all people. Like, but you know. Yeah.
And check this, like with the Golden State Killer, the women were being raped, right? And because the women were being raped, the media, the news were flipping it onto the women as, because you dress a certain way, because you walk a certain way, you're opening yourself up to get raped.
Right.
Putting the blame on women and not the Golden State Killer.
Right.
Which also shows the consciousness that was happening during the 70s and how the patriarchy that existed during that time as well.
Yeah.
Just because you're a woman, it's your fault for getting raped.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
So fucked up.
That's delusional right there.
But that's not that long ago, right?
No, it's not. It's
not that long ago.
70s. I was born in 1977, bro. Like, yeah, it's not that long ago. Like, that's crazy.
And it just shows the rootedness of the trauma that exists in our current state and the amount of inner work that has not been looked at. And we're in this construct, and it's like sometimes I think about, how do I know that there's another piece of me that is not for my higher self? Like, can I discover more?
That it's yet to be revealed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally feel that there is. Like, I think it was Freddie that told me this, like, a long time ago. He says, like, every 7 years, people change, like, physically. Like, your body changes physically, too. I believe that, yeah. I mean, there's still another part of yourself that has not been introduced yet out into the world, or yourself yet, because you're in the road of discovering it. But at the same time, we have to know it's there, because if we talked about destiny and predestined, like, you know, life, it has to be there. And again, it's the journey from A to B, right? We gotta like walk that path, and we gotta rediscover ourselves. How many ever times do we need to discover ourselves? Peeling those layers off, or peeling the layers off, not adding layers, or adding layers. You can look at it this way too, because you're adding more tools, you're adding more strong beliefs, you know. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see, like, I'm 42, and I've come a long way. I feel like with a lot of the turbulations and trials and the awareness I've had the privilege to like to feel, you know what I mean? Like, I can't wait. I mean, I can't wait because I don't want to get older, but I'm excited to imagine where my mind state will be at 52, at 72. You know what I mean? Someone told me, and a few elder people have always told me, like, I remember one time I was at the bus stop, and this guy was like, we started talking, and he's like, how old are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm 42. And this was recent because I was taking the bus to work and stuff. He goes, I'm 42. He goes, oh, you're a baby still. And I'm like, a baby? I'm 42 years old. That's almost 50. He goes, yeah. He goes, how old are you? He goes, oh, I'm 82.
82?
Yeah. I was like, he's
on the bus?
On the bus. He goes, I'm 82. And I was like, oh, wow, you look really good for your age. He goes, oh, thank you. He goes, you're lucky that you are barely beginning your 40-year cycle, I guess. He goes, because I feel that's when people really begin to live. Because you already have an understanding of who you are, what you like, what you don't like, what you believe in, what you want to do, what you don't want to do. So from when you're born to your 40th birthday, you have all that time to discover yourself, so you can set yourself in a place where you're comfortable at and taking on the rest of your years that come. I will never stop learning about myself and about life. I will always be a student of life, and I've said that, a student of life. And not many artists feel the same way. I feel that when I perish and I transcend is when I'll have a better grasp of what reality and existence was, because I'll enter a different form of existence. And I want to join a source that's positive and full of light. And yeah, you know what I mean? So I will continue to grow. I will continue to adapt to whatever life throws at me or gently puts into my plate. Because it's about personal knowledge. It's about personal growth, and not just grow and be on your own, but grow and share. Like, I feel that's why, like, you know, it's like a form of a tree. You know, you have a trunk, a base, you grow, but you have branches, and then within those branches there's little branches, and then with those little branches there's leaves. So it's like you have to extend your knowledge and your growth, not force people, but just like, here, you take it when you feel like it, you take it when you're ready. Well, you don't have to take it at all. When I was going through cancer, people would be like, oh, I'm so sorry, Miguel, I don't know what to say. Well, you don't have to say anything.
Yeah, totally.
But I want to say something. I was like, okay, then say it. But I don't know what to say. Then maybe it's not time. Maybe your silence is just good enough. Maybe your presence is just as meaningful than a word that you can find, because you being present, there's no effort. I mean, you don't have to think. You're with me. One thing that really cancer really taught me, and I'm not trying to be like negative about it, it's just a reality. Like,
it's okay to be negative too, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I just don't want it to be like, I guess so. It's that someone told me that they're like, one thing that cancer will teach you, the doctor actually told me this, Dr. Batar, she's like, Mr. Machuca, the one thing that cancer will teach you, I tell you this, is like who your friend is and who your friends, and who is not your friend. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, because the people that really care about you will make it known, and the people that are just there will make it known, and it's okay. You don't have to have a negative perception of them. It's just a reality that you come aware of. And when I did go through it, I did see it.
You experienced that.
I experienced it. But it's okay. Because Joanne, my mentor, always told me, people do what they can. Simple as that. It's just people do what they can. And the people that do those things, those extra things, then that's fine. That's them too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's okay. And that's why I would tell people, like, you don't have to say anything. But I do want to hear stories of like light and hope and triumph and victory. You know, I don't want to hear what cancer is going to do or what happened to your uncle because he had cancer too. Like, I know what cancer does. I've experienced it. I've seen it before with not family members, but like, well, people that I consider family. Like, one revelation I had, Mike, was fucking crazy. Okay.
Do tell.
I will tell you. So, you know how we all become like super codependent on like social media and to a point you're scrolling people.
The Black Mirror.
Yeah, dude. Like, you're looking into the darkness. You know what I mean? But I realized that I was like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that person's. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, that person. Oh man. Oh, dang. Oh man, he got in a crash. Oh, damn, that guy had a birthday. Oh, damn, that guy got stabbed. Oh, you know, like, you go through a whole bunch of stories, right? And you're just scrolling. You're like scrolling through people's lives, right? And you're almost desensitizing yourself from that. You know what I mean? And it just becomes like normal to you. And so I was on Facebook a lot before I got cancer, right? And I was like, you know, going through the stories and stuff. And then I would see people that I would know have cancer, and I'll be like, oh man, and I would feel bad, and I would probably shed a tear, and then move up, and then I was in a different story, and it took me away from that other story. I didn't like that. I didn't know I didn't like that until I ended up getting cancer, because then I thought, on one of the days that I was at home by myself, I was thinking, dang, I'm now part of one of those people's stories. So how many people scrolls my story up? How many people just pass my story and they just forget about me as soon as like they scroll? And that reality right there, that moment of realization is like, fuck, like we've become so, like, people's lives fucking matter, dude. and certain technology has made it to where they matter for the amount of time that you're looking at it until you scroll to the next story.
Mm-hmm.
And that scared me because I was like, wow, now I'm in that place, and I don't want to do that. And so I try to change it. Like I try to reach out to people, like not just through social media, but like personally, you know, and say, hey, you know, I miss you, I love you, and I want to continue, rekindle our friendship, you know, continue like being present with each other. I'd rather send you a happy birthday personally than to send you a happy birthday over social media. You know what I mean? I just feel like people can take a little more effort into being present. You know what I'm saying? I had this guy named Barshan reach out to me, and my girlfriend knows him. He went through the same journey, same diagnose, everything. He reached out to me before I started going through it, and he told me, hey man, you don't know me, but I wanted to reach out to you and tell you that I understand, and that I understand what you're going to face, and I understand what you're going to feel. And he says, the one thing I want to say to you is that I feel like it's my responsibility to reach out to you because someone reached out to me when I was going through it, and I didn't even know them. And they told me the same thing, that I feel like it's my responsibility to reach out to you and tell you, hey, I understand where you're coming from, what you're going through. And he goes, and the one thing that I understand is that, he says, and that you need to understand, and I'm here to tell you, is that don't survive because you have to. Survive because you can. And that to me said, it's about your mind, the state of your mind. Like if you switch your mentality to say, oh, I need to survive because I have to, but yet say, I'm going to survive because I will do whatever I take because I can. Because I can. It's switching your mentality. If you're positive about it, you will overcome it.
It's very strong.
Yeah, dude. And when he said that, I broke down in tears because it filled me with so much hope, man.
Wow.
So much hope that it inspired like the work that I did with artwork, because the dark images and the feel to my work is the state of mind that I was in when I was presented this cancer experience. But the switching my mentality into knowing that I can survive, it's not impossible, I can, if I switch my mentality, is the message behind the dark imagery through my work. And the message behind that dark imagery is hope. So your life might be filled with all this pain and uncertainty and darkness, but behind it all, you have to have that idea of hope and perseverance and the mentality of like being positive about it. Because if negative things are happening already in your life, why are you going to be more negative, right? But I mean, I still go through it sometimes. I mean, as a survivor and in remission, like I still face those moments of self-doubt, but that's okay because you need to be doubting yourself. I feel like you do. But anyways, to go back to that, like dude, it's your mind, your state of mind. You know what I mean? Like you choose to be negative, you're going to receive and face negative shit. If you choose to be positive in a negative situation, your chances of succeeding are higher because you're strong, your root is strong, your mind is strong. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Thank you again for sharing that. That means a lot. And it also shows how, like, me starting this podcast as well, having these discussions, it makes me feel less alone in the world for some reason. Knowing that we are able to listen to each other and the things that you go through and everyone else goes through, and for that person reaching out to you, I bet it made you feel less alone in this world.
It made me feel so not alone. I mean, and I felt, wow, like there's people out there that don't know me, but they know exactly what I'm gonna go through. So why not listen to them? Why not? What I gotta lose? My life? Okay, that's fine. But if I choose to listen, it can change my survival rate.
Yeah.
Why not? And it happened, you know. And there was other people too that were actually going through cancer while I started going through it, and they took the time out of their experience to reach out to me and try to share words of wisdom and love. Dude, it's like, one of them I didn't even know that it was happening.
Yeah.
One I did. Her name was Giselle, and she reached out to me, and she just helped me. You know, she made me feel that I was part of something, and I wasn't alone. And she was super positive, and she battled for a while. I didn't know her like super personal, like, but I knew of her, and I started getting to know her after she reached out, and I was just blessed that, you know, they felt the moral responsibility to reach out and be positive. And one of them, Jesse, I didn't know he was going through it, and he reached out one day, and he was kind of like on my phone, like through text, and he's like, "Hey man, like, you're so strong, bro, like keep doing it, you're gonna do this, blah blah." And I didn't even know that at that time he was going through it. And I realized that he did until I saw on social media his funeral. And I was like, looked at it, and I was like reading it, and I was like, and I saw his picture, and I was like, wait, what's going on? Is he like trying to help the person that passed away, like, you know, with telling people to come or to donate? And I'm like, oh, it's his funeral? And it slapped me in the face, dude. And I was like, wow. Like, and so forever, for always, like, I will always remember them, and I will always like honor them, because they should be honored.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just crazy, man. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I Miguel.
Sorry, man. Sorry about that.
No, not.
I'm a crybaby, bro. I'm a crybaby, and I don't care. It helps me. It's medicine for myself. You know what I mean? It's medicine.
For sure.
And I'm not ashamed of like people seeing me cry, because that's just me. You know what I mean?
I appreciate your vulnerability, and especially being a man and being vulnerable, which is hard to do, and some people just don't want to show it. Yeah. And it shows a lot of strength.
Yeah.
And you have lots of strength, and also it shows in your artwork.
Thank you, man.
How strong
I
you
want
are.
to say something though. Like, you, like, knowing you, bro. Like meeting you, right, and then kind of knowing you from like the art scene. One of the most vivid conversations and moments that I remember about you is our conversation at Starbucks. I don't know if you remember it, but I remember it.
I do.
And it was one of the most inspirational like interactions you and I had, for me, that just allowed me to see more inside you, you know what I mean? And like, wow, yeah, Mike, he's a good guy, you know what I mean? Then when we became studio mates, I got to know you more, and I gotta say that you inspired me a lot. Not only from your art, but how you dealt with life as it came. I know that, you know, in closed doors, you might blow up or be mad and, you know, blah, blah. But out in public, I have this vision of you always being a collected person. Like, you observe and you listen, and when you reply, you're not like, you were like, well, maybe that's not what that person meant. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? And I really appreciate that, because it prompted me to be the same way towards you. So one of the big moments that I remember is when I broke my hand. And I slit my hand with a glass. You took me to the ER. And I was in a bubble of like chaos.
Yeah.
I was angry. I was pissed. I wanted to kill someone.
Mm-hmm.
And you stopped me in my tracks. And I saw you kind of like shaking a little bit. But it wasn't like you were just strong enough to accept my energy. And then you kind of like switched it when you spoke to me about it. So are you willing to just keep going in this side of mind? Or are you just going to just accept it? Like you really switched my mind to where you took me to the ER. I was able to sit there and have like the fucking needle go through my hand and see the doctor sew my shit. Yeah.
With the glass.
And the whole time, bro, you were collected. And I feel and I want to say thank you because you are a very important person in my life. And I appreciate that.
Thank you, Miguel.
Mm-hmm. I
appreciate you as well. And you are also very important in my life. And I love you.
I love you too, man. I love you too. Like real fucking love. Real love. Yeah, man. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy.
That's intense, right?
No, I get that way. And I think I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, that was intense. And I'm happy to hear that it was a transformative.
It was
pivotal moment. It sounds like
it was. It was always an inspiration for me to like. I want to be more like that. Even though inside I'm raging, I want to have more control.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you telling me like, well, I'm an introvert person, like, so it's not a custom for me to like blow up, but I could blow up indoors, by myself. But just the fact that you were able to like keep yourself at bay and listen still to somebody else and not reply with and like, I just want to speak, but like you're listening and then saying, hey, just look at it this way. Like I can never be negative around you, bro. Like you're like Joanne. Like every time I would go to Joanne with a problem with like a self-doubt or like painful, she will always turn it into something positive. Like she'd be like, I'd be like, man, yeah, and this person's like blah blah and I'm so mad, and goes, okay, so then are you gonna stay mad or are you gonna like do something about it? What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do to change that?
Yeah.
Fuck, Joanne, I can't be negative around you, because anytime I'm negative around you, like you just transform into, there's an explanation why and how you can surpass that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
we're like planets having a certain pull and push within ourselves. And like, for example, we don't, like with my partner, she's seen most the sides of me, whereas other people haven't. Like the dark side of the moon, the light side. And I'm sure you and your partner have experienced many sides of each other. And it's just interesting to see, like, in first impressions of people, that's only one glimpse of the whole planet that is being. And not me myself, I have many sides that I don't like to show, but my partner's seen most of it. And she rolls her eyes when people say, oh, he's a good guy.
You don't know him the way I know him. Yeah, well, I mean, which is awesome, because there is someone out there that, for all of us, that will stick through the thick and thin, and through the thick and thin, they'll still be at your side, knowing who you are, but loving the person that you can be and are at the same time. You know what I mean? I give it to my girl as well. Like I give her so much credit, I even give her credit for like me surviving, because without her pulling my ear to go to the doctor, I probably would have not gone, and I probably would have perished. I probably would have died. And she's been a strong I don't want to say she's my rock, because she's more than that. You know what I mean? She's she's my compatible energy that doesn't complete me, because I complete myself, but she's my my parallel line. You know what I mean? Like when there's two lines, you know, she's going the right way with me. She's going the same direction, back or forward, the same. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And I'm privileged and I'm lucky to have found someone, someone, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So, and see, that's crazy. Like, you know, cancer brought all that shit to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just nuts, dude. Like, I remember I had this crazy understanding of life. Like, I grew up with my family. My brother has always been the green thumb, the advocate for wildlife, for animals, for anything that has to do with like fish, whatever, right?
Older brother, younger?
My older brother, my brother Edgar, and then I have a sister that's an older sister, who's Barbara.
So you're the baby.
I'm the baby. Yola's the baby too in her family. So we're both babies. You know what I'm saying? But my brother has, and I've been around it all my life. You know what I mean? Like animals and wildlife, and you know, and plants and the green thumb, all that. But I never really like had the patience or the interest of like really paying attention to all that. It's just like, oh, okay, there's a plant. Okay, there's a plant behind me right now. But when cancer hit my life, and then I came into remission, or I was recuperating, I was in treatments. I was recuperating at my brother's house, and my brother's house is full of like plants, and he has like tortoises like walking around his backyard, and I mean it's amazing, right? Geckos, you know, everything you can think of, bird, all that stuff. And one of the days I woke up, I got myself dressed, and I went outside. And outside he has a big, thick palm tree. Like it's like a palm, it's like a palm tree, but it's thick. And I'm looking at it and say, this is the palm tree, like the glass, right? And then this is the palm tree, and then like there's like seeds here, and then there's like the bush area, right? And then a smooth trunk, and then like roots digging into the ground, and then the soil, right? And I was walking out, and I was kind of like looking at the day, and it was bright, crispy. Like it was around like 1:30, 2 o'clock p.m. And it was like crispy, sunny. There was like cool crystal white like cloud formations, and the sun was beaming. I was like, oh, I was like feeling good, right? I was like, wow. And then I looked to the ground, and then I'm like, on the grass, I see like circular seeds, like big ones, like marbles on the ground. I was like, what the hell? Where's all this? And then that prompted to like go to the tree, my eyes to go to the tree, look at the roots, then look at the second part of the trunk, and then the third part of the trunk, and then see the bush part of the tree. And then I noticed that there was like these green circular seeds. And then I'm like, wow. And then I looked down, and then I saw these dark circular dried up seeds. And I was like, wow, like the tree is feeding itself and growing by recycling itself. And that was like a boo, you know, for my mind, because I was like, I am truly appreciating the cycle of life within that tree in its immediate environment. And I just saw that there was transitions to the tree. The roots digging into the soil feeding the roots, then it combusts into this like smooth part of the tree trunk, and then it combusts into this spiky part of the tree, and then it combusts into this floral like visual of like branches and just bush, and then focusing into the seeds, right? And then knowing that they fall. It was such an amazing experience, because, and then I'm like, and then that prompted me to like look at another plant and then observe it. I was observing and drawing. I was obsessed with like grabbing stuff and just putting it in front of me, like and just drawing it, like admiring it, taking it all in, you know what I mean? And it just kind of, that's when it like, I felt like, okay, I can relate to that. Like I can appreciate the cycle that I'm going through right now, so I can recycle and I can replenish myself and I can grow and I can appreciate myself and my journey. And it's like, it was amazing. So now it's like, I kind of try to like pay attention to the things that I didn't really pay attention to before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I wanted to share one of these paintings that you've been doing recently. Oh, it's not working.
Oh, nice. The
it's a mushroom, and it kind of shows like how much observation and details you've been doing too. Like it looks so
oh, there it is.
detailed. Oh shit.
Oh, that was there for a second. Oh, there it is.
That's so beautiful the way.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I really like it. That was during Shelter in Place.
Yeah, I feel like you evolved.
Thanks, man.
It looks really dope, and it kind of describes like your observation and
right.
Also the way you describe your dream. What you just described right now sounds like a dream.
Yeah, for real, right?
Like you're just taking all these plants and putting them in front of you and drawing them.
Now that you're showing me that, and we're talking about this, and I see that, like, you're right. I totally feel like I saw, I painted what I saw in that moment. Different cycles, different like moments of growth, and yeah, it's just a recycle. Oh yeah, that was not when we were at Yola's kitchen table.
It's nice.
I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to challenge myself to just like do a one drawing setting in like piece, you know. Yeah, I feel like it's so cool to like see that, because I don't know, it's like, it's the way that I feel like sometimes artists kind of see their visions, like they begin to see section by section, you know what I mean? And then they construct the whole thing, and then you see the whole outcome of it. That was another little mushroom I did that inspired the biggest mushrooms, because we were just trying to be creative, and I saw that this paper was like kind of like stained and kind of cut up, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna use it. I'm not gonna waste it. I'm gonna use it and create something beautiful. And so I did, and I was like, cool. Kind of showed me how to use my colored pencils, my watercolor pencils, and it prompted another piece, and then that other piece prompted the biggest pieces. So that one too, yeah. So
I've been listening to having a lot of discussions, listening to people, and what I've been realizing is that people really love, when I say love, like love nature. Like everyone goes back to nature.
Yeah.
For inspiration, for the environment, to be in an environment, to get inspired. And also, it sounds like people feel most at peace when they're around nature. And it says a lot about ourselves, like when we're like feeling alone, or like trying to think about what is love and why don't I love myself. But when you go into nature, it's kind of like you don't have time to think about other things but be in present of the environment that you're in. It's like a river that just like washes through, and your experience is the river, like the way you perceive the nature. Like going into a waterfall, you're just like whoosh, like feeling everything, the temperature, listening and seeing
the sound it makes, the movement of the water.
Yeah, it's so effortless the way
it is.
It just washes your mind,
and it's instantly, you just understand it instantly. You feel at peace instantly. You become part of it. Like, yeah, I totally understand. Like that happens to me when I go to the ocean. And sometimes I feel like I avoid going to the ocean, to like the beach, because I feel the ocean's power and presence, and it makes me realize of how tiny I am compared to the massiveness of that element. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not afraid of it. I feel like I respect it so much that I feel like I can only go certain times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a mirror reflection of ourselves.
Exactly.
You come up close to the ocean, and you're just like, there's a certain like energy that just prompts in yourself, and you start thinking about the universe or the planet and what else is under. We don't know as much as we do in the ocean compared to the stars, right?
And it's crazy that like people like are finding ways to go out into the universe and kind of adapt to the different pressure and like temperature and like the obstacles, but then yet we haven't really like traveled and explored the deepest depths of like the ocean because we don't have the pressure so hard. Like,
yeah,
it's just crazy. You know what I mean?
Cool.
What's up?
I was looking at the time, and
I know
I want to thank you for sharing all your stories,
of course,
and just being you and sharing your journey as a human being.
Appreciate that.
As an artist, as a dreamer.
I'm a dreamer.
You're a dreamer.
I'm a dreamer, visionary. Dream.
But it's been 3 hours.
What? 3 hours?
Yeah, around 3 hours.
Oh my God. Well, thank you, Mike. Yeah. I appreciate it. 3 hours, huh?
Yeah.
That's good. So you mind if I close it off with the flute?
Yeah, you read my mind.
All right, sweet.
Awesome.
Sweet. Well, where's it? Oh, there it is. All right. Well, Mike, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. I wish you the best on this new journey you have, dude. And yeah, thank you, man.
Oh, do you want to share anything else, like shows coming up? Or?
No shows coming up, but we are, helping Patrick Hoffmeister with his mural downtown San Jose at 3rd Street. It's one of the biggest murals that he's done, and I'm proud to of my homie, and I'm proud to be there and experience that with him. You can check me out at Arte Machuca 33 on Instagram. I'll be in Twitter sometimes, but Facebook. I'm not doing Facebook no more, but you can always catch me at Instagram.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And Patrick's mural is on 3rd Street on Santa Clara.
3rd Street in Santa Clara.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go check it out. San Joseans.
San Jose natives. All right, here we go.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.